Good evening, my YouTube family. Good evening. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, and today is Tuesday, March the 2nd, and you know what time it is, y'all. We are keeping up with Congress. Welcome. Come on in. Make sure you like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification button. Make sure you share. We are holding our elected officials accountable. We're looking for opportunities in legislation. Where is the money, y'all? How do we get some of it? Where is it going? We are keeping up with Congress, y'all. So I'm better tonight, y'all. My ankle is still sore. For those of you that didn't catch me last night, your girl fell again. I don't know what's going on, but twisted the other ankle. For those of you that know, on the campaign trail, I actually twisted my left ankle. Now I've twisted my right ankle, and it is sprained. So it's swollen. It throbbed all night, but today it feels a little bit better. I still feel the throbbing, but your girl gonna be okay. I am here keeping up with Congress. Nothing's gonna stop us, y'all. Nothing's gonna stop us. So of course, this is always brought to you by Withhold the Vote, where we're holding our candidates and our elected officials accountable. No more do we go to the polls and give this vote away for free. We are harnessing our political power. The pimp game is over. We're gonna have receipts in these political streets, y'all. So let's dive in. I've been listening to some of my broadcasts, and y'all know I talk fast, right? It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to keep up with, but I'm going to try to slow it down a bit. I'm trying to bring you about 20, 25 bills a night, keeping up with Congress, y'all. It's going to be tens of thousands or more, probably, bills between the House and the Senate. Y'all, we got to keep up. I'm just trying to make sure we stay on track, but I'm going to try to slow down a bit because some of this stuff is hard to absorb. I actually had somebody reach out to me and say, how do we keep up? It's going to take an army of us, y'all. It's going to take an army of us that are dedicated to this fight. If you haven't gone to the website, I beg you, please go to the website. It's a beautiful site, withholdthevote.org. Support, join, be a part of what we're doing. This is bigger than me. It will take all of us collectively. We're going to have to do this together, y'all. So continue to stay in the fight with me. But let's dive into these bills. I'm sharing my screen with you. So let's dive into these bills. Oh, I like to bring you reparations information. So found an article. It says, talking about Evanston, it says over 140 residents. Let me make this a little bigger, y'all, so you can see it. I can make it bigger. Yeah, there you go. It says over 140 residents to apply for restorative housing program. The eligibility survey says. So these people are lining up. There's a lot of work, a lot of money. It says of the nearly 200 residents who completed the city's reparations eligibility survey, 144 indicated they would be interested in applying for Evanston's restorative housing program. The $400,000 program, the first facet of the city's larger reparations plan, is set to be distributed in payments up to $25,000. That is excellent, y'all. It's a start. I was talking to someone today about what reparations could look like. It could look like whatever it needs to look like wherever you are. We're going to take whatever we can get. Say that, y'all. So it says eligible residents can spend funds they receive from the program toward home ownership. Praise the Lord. Home improvement and mortgage assistance. That's what I'm talking about. We got to have property and land and something to build us some generational wealth on. So I believe in what Evanston is doing. I'm excited about it. Like I said, we got to get it where we get it, however it comes. Reparations is definitely a federal initiative, but dang it, we ain't gonna turn away nothing. So good job, Evanston, Illinois. Here's some business information. I like to bring you business information as well, keep you updated. Initiative to bring 100 million to 1,000 Black-owned businesses. This is something I actually saw yesterday, but wanted to keep talking about it because I don't want us to miss a beat. Like I said, if you haven't started a business, please start one. If you haven't started a nonprofit, please start one. We got to have our hands in the cookie jar because everybody else got their hands in the cookie jar, right? So it goes on to talk about the The Inclusivity Project is hoping to secure $100 million for 1,000 Black-owned businesses. Y'all, let's not miss this money. Get in position. It says NorCal SBDC, which is partially funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration and the state of California, has been focused on building a cache of COVID-19 resources and acting as a go-to for loans and grants designed to survive the crisis. Y'all, please don't miss it. Here it is, the inclusivityproject.com. Go to the website, the inclusivityproject.com. Go to the website, share it with others. Don't miss a dime, a dollar. We ain't missing a beat. Keeping up with Congress, y'all, keeping up with these bills, keeping up with reparations, legislation, and information. So let's dive in. Like I said, I'm going to try to slow it down a little bit because there's some history with some of these bills as we get closer to the end that I want to share. So I'm going to try to slow down a little bit. I know this is a lot to absorb, but we got to play this game. In order to play this game, we got to know the rules to the game, because they playing us with these votes. Just go to the polls and vote. Vote blue no matter who. Hell no, we ain't voting blue no matter who. We voting for what is in our best interest moving forward. It don't matter if it's blue, red, purple. We don't care. Is it in our best interest? That's the questions we need to be asking. So let's dive into these bills, y'all. This is HR. Okay. Oh, this is the hearing. I didn't want to forget this hearing. I saved it, and I'm gonna make sure I save it again and tell you about it again tomorrow. This is the hearing to examine how the financial system hurts workers and widens the racial wealth gap. Remember, Thursday, this coming Thursday, March 4th, 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Somebody asked me what time zone. This Thursday, March 4th, 10:15 Eastern. It's a hearing to examine how the financial system hurts workers and widens the racial wealth gap, y'all. Don't miss it. Let me put it back in my right here so I can save it and bring it back to you tomorrow. So diving into these bills, HR 651 is to protect the privacy of health information during a national health emergency. I believe in protecting people's privacy. For those of you that don't know, my bachelor's degree is in computer information systems. And the one thing they taught us is that data is king and you have to protect it. And that was number one. They drilled that into our heads. So when I see stuff, bills and information about privacy, it really hits home for me. To protect the privacy of health information during a national health emergency, because our information could be going anywhere. This Representative Anna Eshoo, Democrat out of California. HR 652, Research Advancing to Market Production for Innovators Act. Like I said, some of these words, they're so vague. Who knows what they're talking about until we dive in? So HR 652, this bill provides commercialization services for federally funded small business research and development. So yeah, this is some more small business monies that probably going to be coming our way. Get in position, y'all. Representative Chrissy Houlihan, Democrat out of Pennsylvania, HR 652. HR 653, West Coast Ocean Protection Act of 2021. West Coast Ocean Protection Act pretty much says what it is. Representative Jared Huffman, Democrat out of California. HR 654, Drug-Free Communities Pandemic Relief Act. Now, when I saw this one, Drug-Free Communities Pandemic Relief Act, I didn't know where the drug-free and the pandemic went together, but I was like, okay, let's see what is Representative David Joyce, Republican out of Ohio. This bill authorizes the Drug-Free Community Support Program, subject to certain limitations, to waive matching fund requirements applicable to certain grants for reducing substance use among youth. So before waiving these requirements, the program must determine that a grantee is unable to raise funds because of COVID-19. So they have to put up some of the money, and the government matches it. So this is a loophole for somebody. Currently, the Office of the National Drug Control Policy administers this program, and community coalitions that receive grants must match a specific percentage of the federal award amount with non-federal funds, including in-kind contributions. So yeah, this is a way out for those drug-free community, those monies that are supposed to be matched that they can't raise because of a pandemic. Didn't see the correlation, y'all, until we read the bill. So this is why we have to read the bill and we have to stay and keep up with Congress. Y'all, if y'all hear my son playing that game, y'all, I want to scream and tell him to turn it down. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna hear the mama in me come out in just a second. HR 654. Let me tell him to turn it down, y'all. Son. Y'all, Jesus, take the wheel. Y'all got kids? He ain't even no kid. He's a young adult. Him in that damn game. HR 654, y'all. Getting back to keeping up with Congress. He heard me. HR 655, Securing Helium for Science Act. Securing Helium for Science Act. Representative Joe Najus, Democrat out of Colorado. Helium for Science Act. I had to kind of look that one up because it just sounded so vague. It says to amend the Helium Act to ensure continued access to helium for holders of federal research grants and for other purposes. So this is for researchers, making sure they have the resources and the helium, obviously, that they need. So that is HR 655. HR 656, the District of Columbia Police Home Rule Act. Home Rule Act. I did look that up because I wanted to understand what this home rule was all about. So this was the previous Congress. You know, this is the 117th Congress that we're in, y'all. This is great. Like I said, we just learning all these new things. Of course, like I say, this is the 117th Congress, but went back to look at the 116th Congress. What was this bill about? It was a bill to amend the District of Columbia Home Rule Act to repeal the authority of the president to assume emergency control of the police of the District of Columbia. Okay. They don't want them to be able to take over. This is Representative Norton, Democrat out of DC at large, HR 656. I actually looked it up. Let me close this one and close that one. Yeah, so I actually looked it up, looking at it again, the National Guard Home Rule Act. So it says under federal law, because this is HR 657, District of Columbia National Guard Home Rule Act, Representative Norton again. Under federal law, the president controls the DC National Guard, while the governors of the states and territories control their National Guards. Under the Home Rule Act, the president has the authority to federalize the DC Police Department. So this is to address the District of Columbia National Guard Home Rule Act. Representative Norton again. Just thought all that was interesting, y'all. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys are enjoying this too. I know this is a lot of information. Like I said, I know I talk fast, but keeping up with Congress is a lot. And I want to make sure we grasp as much of it as we can. But I'm slowing down tonight because I don't want you to miss a beat. HR 658, District of Columbia Payroll and Supervised Release Act. Parole, not payroll. Parole and Supervised Release Act. So I looked this one up too. I know what the supervised release is, but okay, let's just kind of dive into it. So what is the difference between supervised release and parole? Violations of parole are handled by the Parole Commission. Parolees are not entitled to a hearing before a federal judge. Supervised release is an additional term of supervision that must be completed after a person completes his or her term of federal custody. I guess we consider that the halfway house, y'all. Help me, because I'm learning some of this terminology and this verbiage as well. So the halfway house, that's what I'm thinking this is. In the federal system, supervised release, sometimes also called special or mandatory parole, is a preliminary period of freedom for recently released prisoners, the halfway house, right? It's imposed at the time of sentencing and is for the prisoner to serve after completing his or her prison sentence. So this goes into Representative Norton again, District of Columbia Parole and Supervised Release Act. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. HR 659, repeal the Fair Cloth Amendment Act of 2021. I did look this up. This is AOC, y'all, Alexandria. I haven't seen much from her. This I think this may be the one or two bills we've seen from her. But AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat out of New York. So this Fair Cloth Amendment Act, I looked this up. This was very interesting, and this is why part of the reason why I wanted to slow down tonight. This article was written in August, and it says the most consequential housing law you've never heard of. I've never heard of this Fair Cloth Amendment Act that she is introducing. So in 1999, President Bill Clinton, let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys so you can see it. Can you see it? Okay, good. In 1999, President Bill Clinton signed into law one of the most consequential pieces of housing legislation. But unless you're an urban planner or a housing advocate, you probably have never heard of the Section 9 G3 of the United States Housing Act of 1937, more commonly known as the Fair Cloth Amendment. Never heard of it, y'all. Named for Senator Lodge Faircloth, a Republican out of North Carolina, who inserted the amendment into the law. It was at the time an obscure section in a package of new rules that made assessing public housing more costly and difficult for individuals and communities across the country. The National Low Income Housing Coalition called the Fair Cloth Amendment the most counterproductive part of this troubling public housing law. Under Clinton, y'all, under Clinton, stuff we don't know. Simply put, the Fair Cloth Amendment effectively makes it illegal for the federal government to build or fund the development of more public housing. Let me read that again. Simply put, the Fair Cloth Amendment effectively makes it illegal for the federal government to build or fund the development of more public housing. Because of this law, the number of public housing units cannot increase more than the number that existed on October 1, 1999. It's an artificial barrier that prevents policymakers from using a major tool to address our nation's growing housing crisis. Y'all, this was done under Bill Clinton. So see, he's more than just, it's more that he's done that we don't talk about. I've never heard of this, but AOC wants to definitely repeal it. So it's something I think we should definitely pay attention to. They talk about affordable housing now, access to affordable housing. What happened to those words, home ownership? What happened to that? What happened to that, right? I think that is what we need to be pushing for, home ownership, not affordable housing, these buzzwords that these legislators are using now. But this is some interesting legislation. So I'm going to write this one down. I don't want to miss it. HR 659, it may be one we come back and take a look at. See where it is. Bill Clinton. HR 660, shovel-ready restoration grants for Coastlines and Fisheries Act of 2021. So that's pretty much, self-explanatory, I'm assuming. We can only go by some of these titles. Shovel-ready restoration grants for Coastlines and Fisheries Act of 2021. So they want to restore the coastlines. I'm from the coast, so I kind of see how erosion and, how they always are working to save the coast. So HR 660, this is Representative Plaskett, Stacey Plaskett, Democrat out of, this is the Virgin Islands. Okay. BI, Virgin Islands, y'all. HR 660. I did look it up. It was a bill that was actually introduced in a previous Congress in what was it? Was it the last one? Yep. The 116th Congress, last session, to require the Secretary of Commerce to establish a grant program to benefit coastal habitats, resiliency, and the economy. So like I said, just saving the coast, y'all. HR 661, Congressional Foreign Entanglement Disclosure and Reduction Act. Like I say, some of these words are so vague, we don't know what it is. But this bill expands financial disclosure reporting provisions to require members of Congress to include in their report any business ties the members or his or her immediate family has with a foreign entity. Yeah, sounds like is this some Joe Biden stuff and his son? Yeah, Representative Posey, Republican. Yep, Representative Posey, Republican out of Florida, the Congressional Foreign Entanglement Disclosure and Reduction Act. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. Remember, I told you that we'll see a lot of abortion bills, veterans, immigration, national security, gun legislation, and these streamlining of these processes. So this is one of those streamlined bills, HR 661. HR 662, Government Red Tape Reduction Act. Government Red Tape Reduction Act. The Republicans like to talk about the red tape. So the Red Tape Reduction Act was passed in 2019 that enables the government to create an inventory of current regulations and assesses if they are effective, develop red tape reduction plans in all departments to make sure current and new regulations are free of red tape. So that's that streamlining, y'all. That Red Tape Reduction Act, HR 662. HR 663, the Refundable Child Tax Credit Eligibility Verification Reform Act. Now, y'all might want to pay attention, or anybody that, is children and child tax credit and people claiming all kind of, you pay attention to this. HR 663, Refundable Child Tax Credit Eligibility Verification, keyword, verification, another keyword, reform act. We got to pay attention, y'all. Keeping up with Congress. Refundable Child Tax Credit Eligibility Verification Reform Act. Representative Bill Posey, Republican out of Florida, HR 663. They keeping an eye on we keeping an eye on Congress. Congress keeping an eye on the people. And I did look this up to see what it was about. Actually, this was a few sessions back. This was the 113th Congress where it was introduced before. But in that Congress, it says amends the Internal Revenue Code with respects to the child tax credit to require taxpayer claiming such credit to provide their Social Security number on their tax returns. So I don't know how this all works. I claim my own kids, but something y'all pay attention. They paying attention. HR 664, Tax Transparency Act of 2021. Tax Transparency Act reminds me of, like I say, looking at taxes and making sure everything is transparent. Some of these streamlined bills, y'all. Representative Posey, Bill Posey, Republican out of Florida. HR 273. You know what? That bill, I looked up that last bill, that Transparency Act bill, and I found a bill from last Congress that was addressing the Presidential Tax Transparency Act. So yeah, but this goes back to, it says this bill requires the president, the vice president, and certain candidates for president and vice president to disclose federal income tax returns for the 10 most recent taxable years. So I wasn't sure if there was some correlation, but I was digging and searching and trying to figure it out, y'all. Keeping up with Congress. This, like I said, this is bigger than me. It's going to take more eyes than mine to figure out what they're really doing. HR 665, Retirement Forfeiture for Members of Congress turned Foreign Lobbyists Act. Because most of the time they leave Congress, they don't leave Congress, right? They come back, they serve, then they come back and lobby. One hand washing the other, another hand in the cookie jar. Retirement forfeiture for members of Congress. This bill prohibits a former member of Congress or former senior congressional employee who is a registered lobbyist representing a foreign principal from being eligible for the Civil Service Retirement System or the Federal Employees Retirement System, including the Thrift Savings Plan, the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program, or the Federal Employees Group Life Insurance Program. They're trying to strip them. You go and you start lobbying for these foreign nations. Yeah, this is Representative Posey, Bill Posey, Republican out of Florida, HR 665. HR 666, Anti-racism in public health. This is Ayanna Presley, y'all. I don't see much from her, but it's good to see some bills from her coming down the pike. HR 666, Anti-Racism in Public Health Act of 2021. I looked her up to see what she was working on. So I'm going to read just a line of this, pretty long here, but it's a one-pager. It says, let me make it bigger so you, can I make it bigger? Yeah, I can make it bigger. Comprehensive research studying the public health impacts of structural racism is needed to confront and dismantle the racist system and practices that create racial disparities, and to develop race-conscious public health approaches to reverse the existing disparities that have plagued our nation for too long. So they want to create a national center for anti-racism at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And let me see if I can come down here. Is it gonna move? Yeah. Create a law enforcement violation prevention program within the National Center for Injury Prevention and Control at the CDC. So it's gonna create some jobs, y'all, for real. But anti-racism in public health, a lot of studying that will be done. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. HR 666, Ayanna Presley, Democrat out of Massachusetts. HR 667, the Desert Sage Youth Wellness Center Access Improvement Act. I looked this up to see where this was. I found out it looks like it's part of the reservation, Indian Health Services, Department of Public Health, Indian Health Services. So it's Desert Sage Youth Wellness Center Access Improvement Act. This is Representative, Ruiz, Democrat out of California. We're almost there, y'all. HR 668, Jobs Now Youth Employment Act, Representative Bobby Rush, Democrat out of Illinois. I appreciate Bobby Rush. I don't know, if I got some Chicago, some Illinoisans in the house, I can tell y'all, some of the stuff that I see come through his, from his desk looks pretty good. He's definitely somebody that I don't know a whole lot about him, but his policies thus far, I appreciate him. He's not afraid. I can tell you that. HR 668, Jobs Now Youth Employment Act, Representative Rush, Democrat out of Illinois. HR 669, Restricting First Use of Nuclear Weapons Act of 2021. This is Ted Lieu, Democrat out of California. This bill prohibits the use of federal funds to conduct a first-use nuclear strike unless Congress expressly authorizes such a strike pursuant to a declaration of war. A first-use nuclear strike is an attack using nuclear weapons against an enemy that did not first launch a nuclear strike against the United States, its territories, or its allies. So restricting the first use of Nuclear Weapons Act. We won't be the first ones to fire a nuclear weapon. HR 669. Y'all, I'm sleepy, but I'm here. HR 670, the Bronzeville Black Metropolis National Heritage Area Act. Bobby Rush again, y'all. I didn't know a whole lot about Bronzeville, but I looked it up. It says that from the 1920s, y'all, there's some great pictures here. From the 1920s through the 1950s, Chicago's South Side was the center for African-American culture and business. Known as Bronzeville, the neighborhood was surprisingly small, but at its peak, more than 300,000 lived in the narrow 7-mile strip. So Bronzeville was the place. But it goes on to say Bronzeville fell into decline after the end of racially restricted housing. The upper and middle class families moved away, and overpopulation and poverty overwhelmed the neighborhood. So this is Bronzeville, and he is proposing the Bronzeville Black Metropolis National Heritage Area Act, preserving that area of Bronzeville. HR 671, Fort Pillow National Battlefield. Fort Pillow National Battlefield. Like I told you, Representative Rush, Bobby Rush, he kind of all right with me. Representative Rush, I don't know a whole lot about him. I'm just watching this policy for the first time, but what I'm seeing, I'm liking. I looked it up. This Fort Pillow National Battlefield, this Park Study Act, y'all, this is some history that we probably don't know. I didn't know it. During the Fort Pillow, it said what really happened at Fort Pillow. So during the Fort Pillow Massacre on April 12, 1864, Confederate troops killed nearly 200 Black troops fighting for the Union. The massacre became a rallying point for enslaved people fighting for their freedom, and it hardened the resolve of Black Union soldiers who used "Remember Fort Pillow" as their battle cry. So this is something that I never heard about. Fort Pillow is in Tennessee, and this is Representative Bobby Rush wants the Fort Pillow National Battlefield Park Study Act. Like, let's study what happened there. Yeah, interesting legislation. Thank you, Bobby Rush. So we are at the half hour, y'all. We made it. Went over just by a few seconds here, but we made it. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Of course, we are always keeping up with Congress. We are holding them accountable, looking for opportunities in legislation, y'all. We're not playing. Where's the money? Who is it going to? How do we get some of it? Thank you for joining me tonight. I'll put your comments on the screen as we go out. Please share. Please spread the word about Withhold the Vote. Join, y'all. Please support. This is bigger than me. I realize this takes hours of my day. I said, this is my lunch and my dinner. I'm researching, I'm preparing, I'm bringing you great information. So please support these efforts. This is bigger than me. Of course, we have our meetings on Wednesday night. I look forward to those that are a part of this quote unquote movement. I look forward to connecting with them and seeing how we move forward with some of this legislation. Please share, join, support, hit the Cash App, Withhold the Vote. Send us a little something. It takes an army, y'all. It takes an army to make sure we're doing this right. So I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you, of course, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you great information. And we're going to keep up with Congress and keep our eyes on these legislators. So I'll put your comments on the screen, and I will see you tomorrow night right here, same time, same channel, y'all.